Throughout the Torah, there are two different names of God. We say them in casual conversation as a euphemism because we don't want to actually pronounce them. One is Elohim, representing God's attribute of justice. And the other one is Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, representing God's attribute of mercy. So when you get to the Tochacha in this week's Parsha, the admonition, the description of the horrifying things that are going to happen to us if we stray, if we don't observe God's commands, you know that if God's name is going to be mentioned there, of course it's going to be Elohim, the God of justice, meting out punishments that we deserve, like it or not. And instead, shockingly, we see that God's referred to as Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, the God of mercy. Not once or twice, over and over and over again. Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, the God of mercy, will do this and he'll do that. These horrifying, brutal, terrible things. Why is he referred to as the God of mercy rather than the God of judgment while he's giving out these terrible punishments? And the answer is that we're supposed to know and remember. He's hinting to us that even when these bad things happen, it's him. It's the God of mercy. It's our Father in heaven who loves us. Sometimes he has to do this. He's got to set us straight for reasons that we don't understand. We will someday when we get up to heaven, but not now. I remember years ago, one of my older children had a bad fall, had a terrible cut. It was going to need many stitches. We went to the hospital, we met the plastic surgeon, and in order to stitch up his face, he had to put him in this device that held his arms and his legs rigid so that he couldn't flail around. And he explained to me that someone had to also hold his head steady, and he could ask his assistant to do it, or I could do it, my choice. But if I chose to do it, it would be very difficult. I said, I'm doing it. I'm his father. I don't care how tough it is. I'm not leaving this room. I'm doing it. And I held his head in place. And the worst part was not watching my son's pain, fear, terror. That was awful. The worst part was him looking at me, 2 years old, unable to express what I felt he was thinking and wanted to ask, Dad, what is going on? You're my father. You're my protector. How can you let this stranger, this monster, come at me with needles and who knows what he's going to do to my face? And I tried my best to comfort him, to soothe him, to explain it to him. It's a doctor and he's stitching you up and you're going to feel better. It's not going to take that long. But still, I'll never forget what it was like having those eyes bore a hole through my head. Dad, why? How? What's going on? We have to remember, there are times in our life that are just incredibly painful. They don't make sense. They seem nonsensical. They seem unfair. But if it happened, it was supposed to happen. God decreed it. He made it happen. And it is what's best for us. And he loves us. And he's merciful. Occasionally he has to stitch us up. He has to hold our head in place, hold our arms in place, and do things that are very painful. It may take time. It may take a long time to understand, to grow, to realize. But we will. He knows what he's doing.